The video many of you have been waiting for. Here it finally is. What a good look at the Mathews lift. This one was given to me by my good friend John Verhelst, and I can't thank him enough for this spectacular, this incredible bow. I'm gonna touch a little bit of everything in this video. We're gonna do a complete, total, full review, and not just of the bow itself, but we're gonna go over my arrow setup. That's something that people ask me all the time, is my arrow setup, weight, length, stuff like that. So we're gonna touch all the bases from top to bottom, and if any of you are interested in my setup, whether it be my arrow or my bow setup, from the bottom all the way to the top, this is gonna be it. You wanna make sure that you're watching from start to finish on this video. There's gonna be a bunch of great stuff, lots of good information, what I run day in and day out. Right before we jump into this video completely, we're gonna go to the verse of the day. It comes from 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7. It says, "For God gave us a spirit not of fear but of power and love and self-control." If you're living in a place of fear right now, fear no more. If you are a believer, when your heart is changed, the Lord gives you a different spirit, a different outlook on the way you live your day-to-day life, and you don't have to be a slave to fear. It is the greatest peace that you will ever experience in your entire life, is accepting Jesus as your Lord and Savior, and knowing and understanding that in the valleys and the darkest times, and even in the highest of highs, that you're not living your life, you're not doing it all alone. You have the Lord by your side. You have a spirit of love and of self-control, and it's a gift. Just like salvation is a gift that we cannot earn, you have a gift of peace, of love, of self-control. It's an incredible thing that non-believers don't possess. And it's so cool knowing that regardless of what circumstances you're facing in your life, that there is someone better, something greater that will take care of you. And there's no need to stress. There's no need to fear anything. There's no need to fear the future. And I hope that each and every one of you watching, if you haven't already, that you experience the love and the peace and the mercy and the grace of our Savior and Creator of this earth. Alright, starting from some of the simpler but very important components of an overall build or bow setup is our rest. I think since day one, I've always had a drop away rest on every single one of my bows, and there's a lot of different varieties of brands and companies that make them. Has been my go-to since day one. This is an Ultra Rest Integrate. This is the MX2 with micro adjustability. It is made by QAD, and talking about brands and things that are out there that lots of people make drop away rests. There's several different companies out there that do it. QAD has been my go-to since the very, very beginning. I absolutely love the QAD rest. I've had zero troubles, with the exception of one timing problem with my very first Mathews bow ever over 10 years ago. It was a used bow that I'd bought. It's a Mathews Creed XS of all bows. It's red and black. It was a great bow, and it turned me into the bow hunting lover that I am today. Nonetheless, it wasn't the rest's fault. QAD I've been a huge fan of since the very beginning. Moving on to the stabilizer. This is a Mathews bridge lock stabilizer. It has a harmonic stabilizer here at the end. It is, oh my goodness, it's incredible how deadly silent this thing is, set at 80 pounds. I'm going to touch on that since we're talking about poundage. This bow is set at 80 pounds. It is set to the max there. I have a 28.5-inch draw length. These are the match strings. I am so glad that there is not a regular old zebra string on this Mathews lift. One of my biggest, and I do mean biggest, enemies of a Mathews bow has been zebra strings. Mathews and zebra have gone way back for years and years and years. Zebra cost me about a 340 to 350 inch bull elk and a 50+ inch kudu bull in South Africa. So if you ask me if I'm a fan of zebra strings, the answer is not only no, but heck no. I'm going to try not to jump around too much, but we're going to move to our arrow setup. or my arrow setup, I should say. For the last 2.5, give or take 6 months, years, I have been running the stock archery arrows. I've exclusively run the Silent series, and to say that I'm a fan and a believer is quite the understatement. This arrow has never let me down, regardless of whether it's 3-fletch or 4-fletch. This one in particular is 3-fletch. I do have a 4-fletch in the quiver. I run them both. My bow, it's tuned so well that it shoots them both well. This is one of the strongest and toughest broadheads arrows that I personally have ever run in my entire life, and I've been through a bunch of them. From Gold Tip to Beeman to Easton, your biggest names that are out there, I've run them. Black Eagle arrows, which they claim to be some of the toughest, and just so happen to be some of the most brittle and fragile arrows that I've ever run. Throwing that out there just a little bit for you guys. This arrow has had some of the best flight and strength and durability, and just overall it takes the cake. If you guys want to pick up some stock archery arrows, there will be a link down in the description below, along with a discount code. You guys can save yourself some money whenever you pick up your arrows. The quiver, I have been a huge fan of this setup that they started running back several years ago. It is as simple as that. Flip that lever back, pop that dude out, and you're ready to go. There's not a lot of tension or force that is required to get your quiver out. You're not going to make a bunch of noise whenever you're getting in the stand or out of the stand. Super lightweight. I love the look and the overall build of this quiver. It is sitting on this 29.5 Mathews lift. I never had one of these stands until John gifted me the V3X, which by the way we are giving away. But now that I have one of these stands, I don't know how I ever survived without it. I mean, I might be overdoing it a little bit, but it's like the best thing ever. I simply can't imagine not having legs on a bow, to stand it up, to sit it down on concrete, to, you know, setting it down in deer stands, you name it. It's fabulous. Can they be pricey? Absolutely. Is it worth every penny? 100%. I've now taken 4 to 5 hogs with this bow, and let me tell you, it makes my heart skip a beat even thinking about the previous 4 to 5 hogs. This thing is so screaming fast, quiet, smooth. It's out of this world. This bow bear is it's sub 4 pounds, delivering speeds up to 348 feet per second. This is the fastest bow that I've ever owned in my life. 6-inch brace height on this 29.5, and these are just some few simple facts and things that are coming from Mathews' website. The lift features reimagined RPD limbs to minimize post-shot vibration, and let me tell you, it is the most dead in the hand bow that I've shot ever in my entire life. I'm going to say that and reiterate that many times because it is the truth. If they're in the last 12 or 13 or so years, however many years it's been that I've been shooting Mathews bows, this is hands down my absolute favorite. It has the switch weight X cam, and it comes in 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, and 80 pound draw weight, and draw lengths of 24.5 to 30 inches. Very versatile, covers a large majority of people, and the physical weight is 3.99 pounds. Pretty spectacular. There is an unbelievable difference between the V3X and this lift in weight. This bow right here is going to be much more pleasant to carry around in the elk woods of New Mexico or wherever I may end up. Getting into the meat potatoes, we're going to pop back to the arrow real quick. Overall weight with right at 100 grain or a 100 grain broadhead, I am just a touch over 500 grains total arrow weight with my lighted nocks, the aluminum outserts, the broadhead itself. Of course, if I go to a 125 grain broadhead, which I shoot majority of the time, I'm 5 1/4, 530, sometimes a touch less. Now to the brains. What I would call the brains of the entire setup is the sight. Since I started bow hunting over 10 years ago, I've been a single pin guy forever. I shot one of John's bows at the McCoy Ranch. If you guys are interested in taking a look at the McCoy Ranch and coming out on a hunt with me as your personal guide, there will be a link down in the description below. You guys can see all the details there. I will be there. We'll film your hunt and we'll have a great time, and you don't even have to put your face on camera if you don't want to. Nonetheless, I shot one of John's bows with an Ultraview sight on it, and I flat out fell in love with it. It is a 3-pin slider with a 4th floating pin, and you guys can see that right there. I've never liked multiple pins, and let me tell you what, this side has completely changed my whole mind and outlook on them. I've had zero problems focusing on one specific pin, even with more in my field of view. This Ultraview sight has impressed me from the very beginning over a year ago, and John decided to put this bridge lock style Ultraview sight on for me. 3 different axes to adjust and sight in with. The sight in process was extremely simple. There's a video on YouTube that makes it easy enough. With my poundage, draw length, arrow weight, all those things going into consideration, I think it's funny, but my pins have lined up perfectly, 20, 30, and 40 yards, and my top my 3 horizontal ones. My 4th one I play with, and I really like it. It's a lot of fun. It's supposed to match your middle pin. Overall, it makes it into my top 3 most favorite sights that I've ever used. I was a spot hog guy for an extremely long time. It's still on my V3X, and I absolutely love it. I have 0 complaints. I love the overall build setup. It's extremely lightweight for being the package that it is, and once again, just my overall most favorite Mathews bow that I've ever shot, right next to the Mathews no cam. Maybe that surprises some of you, maybe it doesn't. I absolutely loved the Mathews no cam, and I was unbelievably accurate with that bow, but this bow, it takes the step ahead, and that's a really old bow. Now, don't get me wrong, I loved the V3X, absolutely loved it, but I shot the no cam better than any other bow that that's a Mathews bow other than this lift right here. I'm more accurate, I have incredible speed, it's lighter, the entire setup just makes total sense. And now that I spent roughly 30 minutes talking about this thing, let's fling a few down range at a piece of foam. I want you guys to see this thing in person on a target other than just at a pig once a week. Hopefully we can get at least 3 arrows down range before this thunderstorm rolls in. Let's get rolling. Oh, and if any of you watched that video that I put out of that 264 or so pound hog, here's the cutters on that dude. Super solid pig. Haven't cleaned him up completely yet, but the ants did a good job. Yeah, here we go. 20 yards, Mathews lift, 28.5 inch draw, set at 80 pounds, 515 or so grain arrow. You can't tell me that's not smoking fast. Out of this world. So there you have it, the Mathews lift 29.5, and you probably thought I was going to forget. I almost did, but the release that I'm using is a Scott Sigma release, and I've been using it for, I don't know, going on 3 or 4 years now. Been a huge fan of it. Coming from a Carter Just Cuz Plus, that was a great release also. Let's take a look at these 2 arrows before I get swept away by the rain and the wind. And I will say that 80 pounds is it's a totally new beast compared to 75 pounds from the V3X. But here we go. Looks like I actually might have knocked that fletching off just a little bit, but stupid accurate and a highly recommended bow by yours truly. Hope you enjoyed this one. Sorry for the delay and the bow review, but now you have my opinion and my stance and point of view on this new Mathews lift. On a side note, you guys don't forget that I am a fishing guide for Central Texas and North Texas lakes. If you want to get out and do some catching, right now is the time to do it. Y'all are awesome. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in just a few days. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon.